Peter said what God promised over 500 years ago is being fulfilled today. 500 plus years. Promise kept. God keeps his promises. God is faithful. But what he doesn't fulfill, even though he fulfills his promises, he fulfills his covenant, what he doesn't fulfill is our schedule. Let me say that again. God fulfills his timeline, but doesn't always fulfill our schedule. A lot of disappointment that we may have as believers and Christians and just humans in general is that we don't see God's promises all fulfilled in our timeline. Right? In our schedule, there's some things that we hear that God's going to do, and we're not sure exactly when he's going to do them. And that's frustrating, or it's angering or anxiety-producing, because we want to see it all neatly and clearly. Those people in Joel who heard those words with their own ears never got to see the beautiful outpouring of the Holy Spirit. There are some promises you will never see fulfilled in your human lifetime. There's some hurts that you have that you will never experience the goodness and the redemption come out. There's some brokenness that you won't see fully restored in this life. And there's some yearnings that you have that unfortunately you'll never see fully fulfilled. It doesn't mean that God doesn't keep his promises. It doesn't mean that God isn't God and that God isn't good. It means that our seats of humanity don't allow us to see the whole scenic vista of what God is doing. Our lifespan does not let us take the whole scene of God's activity in. Right? Our lives are not long enough, not broad enough to have the perspective of God. So we're not going to always see the promises. We're not always going to see the redemption and the restoration. Those who heard these scriptures were long dead before these fiery tongues of Pentecost. But the Bible helps build our faith because we get to see the promise of God fulfilled. Stop looking at yourself and fix your eyes on Jesus. You can acknowledge your weakness because you know that you're not depending on your strength. You're depending on the power and presence of the Holy Spirit. And if you called on the name of the Lord, you will be saved. And if you are saved, a full measure of God's Spirit has been poured out on you. God is going to do what he promised he's going to do.